Welcome friends. Today we are starting with new chapter strain energy. All of you have studied about stress and strain. Whenever a force is applied on a body, that force will try to deform the body. But body will offer the resistance, and this resistance offered by body against deformation is called as stress. And the applied force on a body will cause deformation. Even though the body is offering a resistance, the force will cause deformation. This deformation will cause change in dimensions, and change in dimension upon original dimension is called as strain. Thus, whenever a force is applied on a body, the body is strained, and this strained body possesses some energy. So let us see one example how the strained body is possessing energy. So this is, what is this? I have drawn sketch, but hope you will understood from the sketch. This is bow. You are familiar with archery. So this is bow and bow string, and this is arrow. So arrow is shot with the bow by stretching bow string. So this is stretched position of bow string. Now to shoot arrow a longer distance, we have to stretch bow string more. So more the stretching of the string will be there, more the distance will be covered by the arrow. So when we are stretching this bow string, when bow string is stretched, that means it is strained, and thus in the strained bowstring, some energy is stored, and that energy is used to shoot the arrow. What is energy? Energy is capacity to do work. When it is stretched or strained, it is able to do some work. If this string is not strained, not stretched, arrow can't be shoot. So it is not possible to shoot arrow. One more example, this is also familiar. This is called as slingshot. This is Y frame, and to this Y frame at either limbs rubber strips are tied, and here there is a pocket. In a pocket there is a stone, generally circular stone, and in one hand this frame is held, and these rubber strips are stretched, so that more the stretching will be there of rubber strips, longer the distance will be covered by the stone. So this distance will depend on stretching of the rubber strips. In other words, we are straining the rubber strips. When the rubber strips are strained, these rubber strips are capable to do work. How work is done? By shooting the stone. So when a body is strained, it possesses some energy. It possesses some energy means it is able to do some work. So energy possessed by a body when it is strained is called as strain energy. So when body is strained because of external loading, that external loading is causing deformation, and thus work done is equal to external load into deformation, because work done is product of force and displacement. So here displacement is in the form of deformation. Therefore force into deformation, that is work done, and the energy stored in the body because of this straining is equal to work done. So here the principle used is strain energy is equal to work done. Now let us study some terms related to strain energy. The first term, that is resilience. So when a body is strained, some energy is stored in the body. This energy is called as strain energy or resilience. Resilience is strain energy. Second term, that is proof resilience. Now when a body is strained, initially with smaller force it is strained. Obviously when it is strained smaller, the energy stored in the body is smaller. If we will strain more, the applied force is more, the straining will be more, therefore energy stored will be more. And in this way we will go on increasing the force, the deformation and the straining will go on increasing. But we know we can strain, we can deform the body up to elastic limit only. Beyond elastic limit, if it is strained, if it is deformed, then that will be permanent strain or permanent deformation. It will enter into plastic state. Therefore, up to elastic limit only we can strain so that it will regain its original dimensions. So, up to elastic limit, if body is strained, the energy stored in the body is maximum. And this maximum energy stored in body, which is up to elastic limit, when it is deformed, when it is strained, is called as proof resilience. What is resilience? Resilience is energy stored in body when it is strained. And what is proof resilience? Maximum energy stored in a body when it is strained up to elastic limit, that is proof resilience. What is modulus of resilience? Modulus of resilience is proof resilience per unit volume. That is maximum strain energy stored in the body when it is strained up to elastic limit per unit volume is called as modulus of resilience. So these are important terms, and this is one of the important property of the material we need to know. Next term, there are different types of loading. So actually we have seen what are different types of forces based on deformation caused by the forces. These are tension, compression, shear, bending and torsion. So these are 5 different forces, 5 different types of forces. These are classified based on the deformation caused by each type of force. But right now we are studying about types of loadings. Whenever a force load is applied on a body, it is categorized into these 3 categories, that is gradually applied load, suddenly applied load and impact load. Gradually applied load means you have performed some experiments using universal testing machine. In universal testing machine, suppose we are performing tension test. While performing tension test, the load starts from 0 and with smaller increments this load is increasing gradually, and finally the load comes at which the bar breaks. So this load at which the bar is breaking is not applied suddenly. With smaller increments, gradually this load is increasing. This is gradually applied load. When we are performing compression test, in that case also, while finding compressive strength of concrete cubes, at that time concrete cubes are placed in universal testing machine and the load is increased. Initially load is 0. With gradual, with smaller increments, the load is increased, and at a certain stage the load comes when cube, that is concrete cube, breaks, fails. So that is not suddenly applied load. The load is increased gradually. So thus this is gradually increased load. Suddenly applied load. In case of suddenly applied load, at this instant load is 0 and immediately at the next instant the load is P, whatever may be its magnitude. So it is not increased in smaller increments gradually. It is increased suddenly. So this is suddenly applied load. When you are standing on weighing machine, balance, so at first instant there was no load and immediately at the next instant you are applying entire load on the machine. So that is suddenly applied load. That is not applied with increments. And third one is impact load. When load is applied on a body falling from certain height, that is with impact, then that load is called as impact load. Thus, from the viewpoint of strain energy, we are going to study about these 3 types of loading. Consider a bar of cross-sectional area A and modulus of elasticity of the material is E. a bar is hanging from a ceiling, one end is hanging from the ceiling, other end is free. At this other end, load P is applied. This load is applied gradually. Gradually means with smaller increments. So when this load P is applied gradually, as the load will go on increasing, the deformation of the bar will go on increasing. As this is tensile load, there will be increasing length of the bar. Let L is original length of the bar and delta L is increasing length when load applied is P. So A is cross sectional area of the bar, E is Young's modulus of the bar material, L is original length of the bar, delta L is deformation, that is increasing length of the bar due to force P. This is gradually applied load. Initially the applied force is 0. When the force is increased with smaller increments and reaches to P. So average force or average load, that will be 0 plus P divided by 2, that is P by 2. Why? Because this load is applied gradually. Now we know work done is equal to, we know work done means force into displacement. Here in this case of bar, force is applied force and displacement is deformation. So work done is equal to average load or average force into deformation, where deformation is delta L. Now here average load is equal to P by 2 into deformation is equal to delta L. This is work done. But we know in such case, in a body of elastic material, when a force is applied and that force is causing deformation, thus the body is getting strained and the strain energy stored is equal to work done because of external force causing the deformation. Therefore, here we know strain energy is equal to work done. Now here work done is equal to P by 2 into delta L. Strain energy is equal to delta L. We know delta L is equal to sigma L upon E. So if you are remembering this, then delta L is equal to PL upon AE. So P upon A in case of gradually applied load, that is sigma. So instead of writing this P L upon AE, we are writing sigma L upon E. So you have derived this earlier. Therefore here we have written directly E is equal to sigma L upon E. Therefore strain energy is equal to P by 2 into sigma upon E. We know modulus of elasticity is the ratio of stress and strain. Therefore, here this is sigma upon E. So, if E is taken to left hand side, then small e, that is strain, is equal to stress upon modulus of elasticity. So, stress upon modulus of elasticity is equal to E into L. So, if this is written as 1/2 into P upon A into E into A into L. A will get cancelled, P by 2 into EL. And we know P upon A is equal to stress. Therefore, 1/2 into sigma into E into AL, where A into L, A is cross sectional area and L is volume. So, L is length. So, A into L is equal to volume. Therefore, we can write strain energy is equal to 1/2 into stress into strain into volume. but 1 half into sigma into E is equal to sigma upon E. Only to write this, we have put here value of strain instead of sigma upon E. So 1 half into sigma into E is equal to sigma upon E into AL as it is. So this will be sigma into sigma, that is sigma square upon 2E into AL, that is V. This is strain energy. So strain energy is equal to U is equal to sigma square upon 2E into V. In case of gradually applied load, sigma is equal to P upon A. You have to remember this. We have used sigma is equal to P upon A here also. And in case of gradually applied load, strain energy is equal to sigma square upon 2E into V. Similarly, let us find equation for strain energy stored due to suddenly applied load and impact load. Now, for suddenly applied load and impact load, we may get different equations. But for sake of simplicity, if equation for strain energy for both, that is suddenly applied load and impact load, is kept same, and only the value of stress, that is sigma, is found for each case, then it will be more convenient, it will be more easier. So have you understood this? When load is applied gradually, strain energy stored in body can be calculated using equation U is equal to sigma square upon 2E into V, where sigma is equal to P upon A. Using these equations, we are going to solve numerical. So remember this equation. Strain energy stored in a body when the load is suddenly applied. In case of gradually applied load, what was happening? Initially load is 0, with smaller increments the load is increasing, and finally it is reaching to P. But in case of suddenly applied load, immediately at the next instant load is P. So when we are finding average load, that is P plus P divided by 2, that is 2P upon 2. Therefore 2P upon 2 is equal to P. That means for entire process the load is constant, load is same. So here average load in case of suddenly applied load is equal to P, and it is not P by 2. So work done is equal to force into deformation. Let deformation is same, that is P into delta L. In the previous case it was P by 2 into delta L. So P into delta L. Now strain energy is equal to work done. Strain energy is equal to work done. So we know strain energy is equal to sigma square upon 2E into V, that is AL, and E is equal to work done, P into delta L. So here we can write P into delta L is equal to sigma L upon E. Purposely we are not writing PL upon AE. When we are writing PL upon AE, it means sigma is equal to P upon E. Therefore, instead of that, we are writing delta L in terms of stress, not in terms of load P. So P into sigma L upon E. Let us write here also sigma square upon 2E into A into L. So what will happen? This L will get cancelled, sigma will get cancelled, E will get cancelled. What will remain? This A and 2. Therefore here we are getting sigma is equal to 2P upon A. For suddenly applied load, equation for strain energy will remain same, that is sigma square upon 2E into V, but value of sigma will be different. In case of gradually applied load, sigma is equal to P upon A, and in case of suddenly applied load, sigma is equal to 2P upon A. Remember this. Third case, strain energy stored in a body when the load is applied with impact. A rod is shown, cross-section area is A, modulus of elasticity of the bar is E, its original length is L. At the bottom of the rod there is a collar, so this is collar and this is load. So let the rod be circular, and here this load can slide on this circular rod. So diameter of this hole for the load is larger, slightly larger than diameter of bar, so that this load can be lowered or raised on the rod. So this load is allowed to fall on the collar from height h. So this load is of weight P, and this load P will give impact from height h on the collar. Thus, due to this impact, there will be increase in length. Let deformation be delta L. So we have shown this collar at the bottom, at the base, and then this falling load from height h P causing deformation delta L, original length of the rod L, cross-sectional area of the rod A, and modulus of elasticity of the material is E. So this is impact load causing deformation L. In this case, work done is equal to force into displacement. Now force is P, which is causing deformation or displacement. This force P, load P is moving through distance h when it is falling through height h, therefore h, but again due to deformation this load is moving through length delta L, therefore h plus delta L, that is deformation, h plus delta L. Now we can equate strain energy and work done. We know equation for strain energy will remain same, that is sigma square upon 2E into V or AL is equal to P into H plus delta L. This equation can be written as P into H plus P into delta L, where delta L is equal to sigma L upon E. Again here we are writing delta L in terms of sigma L. Multiplying this entire equation by 2E upon AL. So multiplying by 2E upon AL, what will remain on left hand side? Sigma square is equal to 2PHE upon AL plus P into sigma L upon E into 2E upon AL. So this E will get cancelled, A will get cancelled, and what will remain? 2P upon A. Sigma square minus, let us take this term on left hand side, that will be 2P upon A into sigma. E and L will get cancelled. 2P upon A into sigma minus this term on left hand side, that is 2PHE upon AL. This is equal to 0. This is quadratic equation. Ax square plus bx plus c. A is equal to 1. B is equal to minus 2p upon A, and C is equal to minus 2phe upon AL. To find sigma, we know sigma is equal to minus B. So it will be minus minus plus 2p upon A plus 2p upon A plus or minus under root b square that is 4p square a square. So 4p square a square plus or minus under root b square minus 4ac. Minus 4 into c is also negative, therefore positive. So plus 4 into 2phe upon al. Why? A is 1 and entire equation divided by 2. So sigma is equal to, dividing by 2, what will remain? Plus p upon a. Here plus or minus. From both terms, let us take 4 out common. So it will be 2. These 2 and 2 will get cancelled. So what will remain? P square upon a square plus 2phe upon al. So this equation we are getting for sigma. Sigma is equal to p upon a plus or minus under root p square upon a square plus 2phe upon al. Sometimes when this delta L is very small, in this case here sigma square upon 2e into al. What is this? This is strain energy. E is equal to work done. As delta L is very small, we can ignore delta L. That will remain P into H. So E is equal to P into H. So here sigma square is equal to 2phe upon al, and sigma is equal to under root 2phe upon al. These two terms will get cancelled when delta L is very small. So when load is applied with impact from ITH, equation for strain energy is same. That is sigma square upon 2E into V or sigma square upon 2E into AL. But equation for stress will be different, and that is sigma is equal to P upon A plus or minus under root P square upon A square plus twice PHE upon A. So in the three cases, all the three cases, equation for strain energy will remain same as it is. U is equal to sigma square upon 2E into V. Whereas stress for each type of loading will be different. For gradually applied load, sigma stress is equal to P upon A. For suddenly applied load, sigma is equal to 2P upon A. And for impact loading, sigma is equal to P upon A plus or minus under root P square upon A square plus 2phe upon A. Remember this because we are going to make use of these equations while solving examples. First example, the steel bar of diameter 15 mm is axially loaded with load 10 kN. The length of bar is 250 mm. This is gradually applied load, and for this load we are asked to calculate strain energy and strain energy per unit volume. Calculate strain energy and strain energy per unit volume. So in case of gradually applied load, we know sigma is equal to P upon E. For gradually applied load, sigma is equal to P upon E. But here diameter is given, therefore cross sectional area is equal to pi by 4 into d 15 square. So E is equal to 176.71 mm square. This is cross sectional area. Therefore stress sigma is equal to, as this is gradually applied load, sigma is equal to P upon A, and this is 10 into 10 raised to 3. Why? It is in kilonewton, we have converted into Newton, divided by 176.71. This is equal to 56.588 mm square. This is stress sigma, and we know strain energy stored is equal to U is equal to sigma square upon 2E into volume, that is A into L. So here sigma is equal to 56.588 square upon 2 into E. E is given, E is equal to 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per millimeter square. So 2 into 10 raised to 5. That's why we have converted this P from kilonewton to Newton into A, as we have written E in terms of Newton per millimeter square. We have to put cross sectional area and length in terms of millimeter. So cross sectional area 176.71 into length, that is 250 millimeter. Strain energy is equal to 20.01 into 10 raised to 3 Newton millimeter. So instead of this, let us write this as 20.01 Newton meter or joule. So this is strain energy stored. We are also asked to find strain energy per unit volume. So divide this by A into L, that is sigma square upon 2E only. So strain energy per unit volume, this is equal to only sigma square upon 2E. So 56.588 square upon 2 into 10 raised to 3. Sorry, 2 into 10 raised to 5. Into 10 raised to minus 3 Newton millimeter per millimeter cube. Thus, using these equations, we have calculated strain energy and strain energy per unit volume. Next example, a steel rod of diameter 50 millimeter and length 3 meter is pulled suddenly by 100 kilonewton load. This 100 kilonewton pull is applied suddenly. The modulus of elasticity of the bar material, rod material, is 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per millimeter square. Due to this pull, calculate instantaneous elongation and strain energy stored. So this is suddenly applied load. D is equal to 50 millimeter. We know A is equal to pi by 4 into D square, that is 50 square. This is equal to 1963.49 millimeter square. This is cross sectional area of the bar. So we know in case of suddenly applied load, sigma is equal to instantaneous stress is equal to 2P upon A. Don't get confused. When load is applied gradually, sigma is equal to P upon A. In case of suddenly applied load, it is equal to twice the gradually applied load, that is 2P upon A. So 2 into P is equal to 100, that is kilonewton, convert into Newton, 2 into 100 into 10 raised to 3 upon A, 1963.49. Therefore sigma is equal to 101.86 Newton per millimeter square. Sigma is equal to 101.86 Newton per millimeter square. This is also called as instantaneous stress. Next, we are asked to find delta L. We know delta L is equal to sigma L upon E. Please don't use equation PL upon AE, because sigma is equal to 2P upon E. So delta L is equal to sigma L upon E. We know this. E is equal to sigma is equal to 101.86 into L is equal to 3 meter, that is 3000 upon E is equal to 2 into 10 raised to 5. Therefore delta L is equal to 1.527 millimeter. This is deformation, change in length because of this suddenly applied load. And strain energy U is equal to sigma square upon 2E into V or into A into L. Sigma is equal to 101.86 square upon 2 into 10 raised to 5 into A is equal to 1963.49 and L is equal to 3 meter, that is 3000. 152.79 into 10 raised to 3 Newton millimeter, or we can write this as 152.79 Newton meter or joule. An unknown weight is falling on a rigid collar attached at the base of a vertical rod of length 4 meter through height 30 millimeter. The cross sectional area of the rod is 1000 millimeter square. When this unknown weight is falling through height 30 millimeter on a collar rigidly attached at the base, the instantaneous elongation is found as 3.66 millimeter. So we are asked to find what is instantaneous stress and that unknown weight. So instantaneous stress sigma and unknown weight P. This is suddenly applied load. In case of suddenly applied load, we know equation for stress. Sigma is equal to P upon A plus or minus under root P square upon A square plus twice PHE upon AL. So if we will find stress using this equation, the calculations will be more complicated. Instead of that, we know work done is equal to strain energy. So work done here is equal to P into H plus delta L. This is work done as we have derived, and strain energy is equal to sigma square upon 2E into volume, that is AL. In this equation, P is not known, H is known, delta L is also known, sigma that is not known, and E that is given. So E is equal to 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per millimeter square. E is given, A is given, L is given. So unknown are sigma and P. As there are two unknown parameters, we have to find one of the parameter. So let us first find first parameter that can be found from this instantaneous elongation. So we know delta L is equal to sigma L upon E. In this equation, delta L is known, L is known, E is known. Only unknown is sigma. So putting values, we can find sigma is equal to delta L into E. Delta L is equal to 3.66 into E is equal to 2 into 10 raised to 5 upon L is equal to 4 meter, that is 4000. Sigma is equal to 183 Newton per millimeter square, as we have put all values in terms of Newton and millimeter. Now in this equation, only P is unknown. We can put value of sigma. So put value of sigma and other parameters in the equation and find P. So P into H is equal to 30 and delta L is equal to 3.66. So 30 plus 3.66 is equal to sigma square, that is 183 square into A cross sectional area 1000 into L 4000 upon 2E, that is 2 into 10 raised to 5. Solving equation for P, we are getting P is equal to 9949.1 Newton. Alternatively, in some books you may found in this manner, sigma E is equal to, here we have completed example because the parameters which were asked, that is instantaneous stress and unknown weight P. Instantaneous stress 183 Newton per millimeter square and unknown weight P we have found 9949.1 Newton. Now one more method, that is sigma is equal to P upon A plus or minus under root P square upon A square plus 2PHE upon AL. In this equation, sigma is known. Already we have found here 183 instead of this method. So in this equation P is unknown, P is unknown and P is unknown. So we can solve this equation for P. Again we may get quadratic equation and find P. So instead of this is more convenient and easier. So you can find P by any of these methods. Next example, a 10 mm diameter mild steel bar of length 1.5 meter is stressed by load 120 Newton falling freely through 20 mm. So again this is impact load which is falling freely through 20 mm height. We are asked to calculate instantaneous stress and instantaneous elongation. Instantaneous stress means sigma, instantaneous elongation delta L. So to find instantaneous stress, we know relation between delta L and sigma. So delta L is equal to sigma L upon E. But here delta L and sigma both are not known. E is also given 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per millimeter square. So we are getting relation between delta L and sigma. Sigma is equal to delta L into 2 into 10 raised to 5 upon L, that is 1500. So we are getting sigma is equal to 133.333 delta L. So this is relation between sigma and delta L. Now equation for stress, sigma E is equal to P upon A plus under root P square upon A square plus twice PHE upon AL. In this equation, every term is known. P is known, A is known. A we have not calculated. Let A is equal to pi by 4 into 10 square is equal to 78.54 millimeter square. We can put these values here. In every term there is P upon A, P upon A. So let us first find value of P upon A, so that will be more easier to make calculations. So P upon A is equal to 120 upon A is equal to 78.54. 1.527. This is Newton per millimeter square. So let us put values. Sigma is equal to P upon A, we know 1.527 plus under root 1.527 square plus 2 into this P upon A, that is 1.527 into H. H is equal to 20 and E is equal to 2 into 10 raised to 5. 20 into 2 into 10 raised to 5. So what is remaining in the denominator? That is L divided by L is equal to 1500. So thus the calculations are becoming easier. So sigma is equal to 91.784 Newton per millimeter square. This is equal to instantaneous stress, and therefore we can find delta L. So delta L is equal to 91.784 divided by 133.333. 91.784 divided by 133.333. Delta L is equal to 0.688 millimeter. This is instantaneous elongation.